Welcome to C News, where noise becomes clarity and the headlines hit harder than the spin. We cut through the gossip, the manufactured outrage, and the endless tabloid distractions to deliver stories that matter. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just sharp, fearless coverage that challenges the narrative and tells you what's really happening behind the cameras. From courtroom battles to palace drama, from celebrity feuds to cultural flashpoints, C News is your front row seat to the truth, unfiltered. If it shakes the timeline, if it stirs the conversation, you'll find it here, raw, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. Samantha Markle has lost yet another lawsuit against her half-sister, Meghan Sussex, and this latest defeat may be the most humiliating one yet. After months of loudly proclaiming that she was finally going to hold Meghan accountable for destroying her reputation, Samantha's case collapsed in a Florida federal court, leaving nothing but a trail of legal fees, public ridicule, and another win for Meghan Sussex. This ruling marks the third time Samantha's attempts to sue Meghan have ended in dismissal, and the judge's language this time made it crystal clear. This was never a case with merit, only a personal grievance dressed up as a legal claim. In the lead-up to the hearing, Samantha arrived at court with her usual air of confidence, carrying binders of documents and, smiling for the cameras outside as though she were about to have her moment of vindication. Tabloid outlets, who have long feasted on Markle family drama, hyped the case as if it might be the trial of the decade. But inside the courtroom, the mood quickly shifted. Meghan's legal team was calm, precise, and devastatingly effective, presenting transcripts, timelines, and case law that made Samantha's claims look flimsy at best and downright absurd at worst. Meghan Sussex's words, her Oprah interview, her Netflix series comments, even her description of growing up like an only child, were not defamation but reflections of her lived experience. There was no smear campaign, no malicious falsehoods, just a woman sharing her own story, something the court repeatedly reaffirmed was her right to do. The judge questioned Samantha's team closely, pressing them to pinpoint exactly which statements were false and provably damaging, not just statements that were unflattering or controversial. The judge wanted to know, could Samantha demonstrate that Meghan's recollections were fabricated rather than sincerely held beliefs or personal memories? And even more importantly, could she produce tangible evidence that her reputation had been harmed in any measurable or significant way, beyond just public embarrassment? What followed was, honestly, an awkward attempt to argue that global humiliation had resulted from Meghan's interviews, a claim the judge did not appear to take seriously without hard objective evidence to back it up. Observers in the courtroom said the answers Samantha's side provided simply did not satisfy the legal standard for defamation, falling short of what was required. It was a scene that played out almost identically to her prior lawsuits, and by the end of the day, the case was dismissed yet again, leaving Samantha's team visibly frustrated. This loss really highlights a truth that legal experts have been repeating ever since Samantha filed her very first complaint, and it's something that's often overlooked in high-profile family disputes. Courts are simply not the right place to settle personal family drama or to punish a sibling for speaking publicly about their own life experiences, no matter how uncomfortable those stories might be. U.S. defamation law, is designed to protect free expression, especially when it involves issues of public interest or matters that people are already talking about, unless the claimant can prove not only that the statements were false, but also that they were made with actual malice, which is a very high legal standard to meet. Samantha has never been able to clear that bar, despite multiple attempts and legal filings. Instead, her lawsuits have come across as, frankly, attempts to litigate hurt feelings and to rewrite or control the narrative of family history in the public eye, and so far no judge has been willing to indulge that or set a new precedent. The public reaction to this latest dismissal was honestly swift and merciless. People everywhere seemed to have an opinion, and most of them weren't holding back. Social media just erupted with jokes and memes mocking Samantha's persistence, with hashtags trending within minutes of the news breaking. Many users portrayed her as a cartoon villain who keeps running into the same legal wall and never learns her lesson, fueling a wave of online satire. Even media outlets that once treated her claims seriously are starting to change their tone, now sounding more skeptical and even a bit exasperated. Headlines now refer to her as a serial litigant, a label that's quickly catching on in both print and online coverage. Some are even questioning whether her lawsuits are just publicity stunts to keep her name in the press, rather than genuine legal grievances. Legal analysts on cable news were equally blunt, not mincing words about the potential consequences. They say that if she keeps filing similar cases, she really risks sanctions for wasting court time and resources, which could have serious repercussions. At some point, this crosses the line into harassment, as one commentator noted, raising concerns about the impact on the legal system. Through all of this, Meghan Sussex has actually remained remarkably disciplined. She hasn't granted interviews to discuss Samantha's lawsuits, hasn't hit back publicly, and hasn't engaged in the kind of media tit-for-tat that tabloids would, eagerly amplify. Instead, she's let her legal team do their work quietly and professionally, and each court victory has only reinforced her credibility. Far from looking like someone trying to silence her family, Meghan has come across as someone who's simply asserting her right to speak her truth and refusing to be bullied into silence. For Samantha, on the other hand, the costs of these legal defeats are mounting. Each case reportedly costs tens of thousands of dollars to file and fight, and repeated dismissals could eventually open the door to financial penalties. Worse for her, each loss chips away at her credibility and reinforces the narrative that she is engaged in a personal vendetta rather than a legitimate pursuit of justice. Her interviews, her memoir, and her constant commentary about Meghan Sussex all feed into the perception that this is about publicity and resentment, not legal principle. The broader message of this latest ruling is clear. The court is not a weapon for relitigating sibling rivalries. It is a place where evidence matters, where grievance alone is not enough to prevail. Meghan Sussex's words about her childhood and her family are protected precisely because they are her own perspective, and she has every right to share them, even if they make others uncomfortable. By now, it is undeniable that the legal system has consistently sided with Meghan, and that Samantha's repeated attempts to drag her sister through the courts have only backfired. As Samantha left the courthouse, she avoided questions from reporters, her earlier confidence replaced by a grim silence. Meghan's team, as always, declined to comment, letting the ruling speak for itself. And just like that, the latest chapter in this bitter feud came to an anticlimactic end, not with a dramatic confrontation, but with yet another legal defeat for Samantha Markle and another quiet, decisive win for Meghan Sussex. For those who have followed this saga from the beginning, the pattern is now unmistakable. Samantha can keep trying, but the courts are not buying what she's selling, and each time she loses, Meghan's position only grows stronger. At C News, we don't just report the story, we set the record straight. We believe the truth should be loud, fearless, and impossible to bury under PR spin or tabloid noise. When the dust settles and the cameras go dark, our commitment remains the same: hold power accountable, call out hypocrisy, and keep the spotlight where it belongs. We are not here to play nice. We are here to inform, challenge, and provoke real thought. The world won't stop spinning, and neither will we. Stick with C News, where the last word is always the right one.